Hello everybody, welcome back to StarCraft. We're here with the real Homestory Cup. It's the grand final. It's HeRoMaRinE versus Clem's protoss. I don't know if he sticks to protoss, but I was expecting a TVT finals for the real Homestory Cup. I have, of course, got my apple juice ready to adhere to the drinking rules, and I hope you drink along with us with whatever fine beverage you can find. And for this first map on Oceanborn, we have Clem's protoss versus HeRoMaRiNE's Terran. And I'm interested to see what Clem has planned for HeRoMaRiNE here. We saw Clem completely dismantle Creator in the last game, and HeRoMaRiNE had quite the fight versus Lambo before he got his passage into this finals. We see HeRoMaRiNE going for that double gas that Clem also showed quite a bit versus Creator, and was just consistently hitting Creator with those super fast Widowmine drops, doing them cheeky builds. And Creator was trying to cheek it back up, but just couldn't cut it. These, especially the Armory Widowmine builds, where the Widowmines were just consistently cloaked, or he would build his factory next to your main and just fly them in, or like he would just keep on finding ways to put these Widowmines into your base. And HeRoMaRiNE going for this bunker rush here. We saw him do something very similar to Showtime on this exact map, in these exact same locations, in the group stage, I believe it was. You can watch that game back if you are so inclined. I don't know if this bunker is going to go up. You really need this SCV to get a little lucky and stick next to another building so that the probes can't reach it. But no such luck this time around. Stalker coming out as well. So that SCV is going to die and the bunker will not complete. Reaper is in the main base. Maybe this SCV can now sneak through. Reaper is getting awfully low though. 6 health remaining. And the SCV jumps back onto that bunker. Maybe it gets it finished. We do see a reactor on the factory here. SCV got sniped by the Stalker. And the Reaper is still alive, roaming around. But I feel like this bunker ain't finishing, boys. And we're just going to settle into a more normal remainder of this early game. Shield battery underway. Clem making sure that nothing funky is going to happen. Second Reaper joining the first Reaper. But we'll not be seeing additional Reapers, as this barracks is just on add-on duty for now. Do see second base on location for HeRoMaRiNE. He's just kind of being annoying at the front, but nothing much is happening. We do see a Twilight console from Clem coming out, and Blink is being chrono boosted out. We do see 2 Stalkers on the map already, with an Adept in the main, just warding away these Reapers from doing any damage or any other shenaniganry. And now we see a Robo in the front as well. Bit of an Artosis pylon. Let's see if that comes into play. Reaper grenade tries to bounce the Stalker out of its place, and the Stalker is not having it, angrily chasing those Reapers. But to no avail. Bunker in the front now being constructed. Marines, and look at that, 4 Widowmines have been constructed from that reactor factory, now swapping over to the tech lab, and 4 Widowmines and a medevac are now heading on over to Clem's base, getting a little taste of his own medicine. Whilst these Reapers still kind of scooting around. Oh, could have potentially cancelled that third base, but no such luck. HeRoMaRiNE not quite active enough, or maybe he got warded away by a couple Stalkers there. Now look at these Widowmines trying to get some probes being dropped out of the medevac. 1 mine gets burrowed, 2nd mine gets burrowed, 3rd mine gets burrowed. And 3 probes have gone down so far, and the last mine burrows. And 6 probes in total. Reapers joining the fun. 7 kills. That's a lot of Stalkers, though. Observer here as well. How many Stalkers do we have? We have 6 Stalkers on the map right now. And 4 Widowmines were cleaned up for 7 probe kills. I think one Reaper, but both Reapers went down for that as well. So 4 mines and 2 Reapers to trade for 7 probes. And the third base is almost completed for Clem. This seems like a pretty solid position for the Protoss player here. And now he's moving out with these Stalkers, putting on a little bit of aggression, seeing if he can get a couple pickoffs. This bunker plus siege tank combo will be difficult to break, but he can blink into the main, and he might attempt that. Actually blinks onto that 1 SCV, gets that sniped. A little bit of damage on this Stalker hull here because of the siege tanks and the Marines that are entrenched in the bunker. Raven actually coming out. Wow, interesting. Singular Raven being constructed. It's probably here to throw down a nice juicy auto turret to get a couple probe kills. 2 probes do go down. Another auto turret goes down. Targets the shield battery and actually kills the shield battery. No cancel there. Meanwhile, Clem on the other side of the map, giving a light contain to HeRoMaRinE. 3 probes do go down and a shield battery. That's pretty nice for just energy. And Clem now transitioning into Colossus with thermal lance. So we'll have those ranged Colossus up and running together with Blink Stalkers. And here we see the classic 2 tac lab, 3 barracks, with 1 factory, 1 starport set up. And as soon as the upgrades finish for the bio, that's a good moment for the Terran to move out with all of his forces. And what a force it is. Double siege tank, a bunch of bio with 2 medevacs. So he can stim for the win without caring too much. Oh my god, actually, Clem, what the hell? That's not supposed to happen. HeRoMaRinE should have kept his medevac a little closer to his army and unloaded it earlier. Clem, what a monster, actually snipes that medevac that was half full of units. And now HeRoMaRinE is here. Force fields box in all of the Marines, but they get hot pickup by this medevac. Both siege tanks do go down. Colossus standing tall and strong, lasering down most of the Marines. And HeRoMaRinE has to go back to his base, or at least tuck his tail and run on out of there. Really solid defense by Clem there, really on top of things, so ferocious. Now we see double drop coming out from HeRoMaRinE with 4 mines and a little bit of bio. An interesting combination. We do see this pylon scouting it out, and HeRoMaRinE just drops all of his units, kind of showing that it's mostly mines. And picks on up again, and now is looking at the main base. Is Clem reacting to that? His Stalkers are there, camping and ready. 1 good blink underneath these medevacs will take all of them down, but Stalkers not quite in position somehow, some way. Widowmines do find time to burrow, and even though it's only a couple bio units, these Widowmines do make it pretty scary. Oh my god, they're targeting... Oh, almost got that big probe clump, but only ended up getting 7 probes. There was a small attack in the front here as well by HeRoMaRinE, but got devastated by this double Colossus Chart Zealot combination. It was all about the main base here. That was the vocal point for HeRoMaRinE. That attack in the front was just a distraction. And now Clem is doing a drop of his own with this War Prism. Sneaking on into the main base, unloading and making sure that he can warp in as well. HeRoMaRinE could not see that coming in, so now there's a bunch of Chart Zealots in his main base. Stint Bio is here to chase it down and kill him off. Does get a lot of Zealot kills here. 4 SCVs go down. Some more warpins at the third base, and also the big Colossus army now joins the fray and walks on into the natural position. And HeRoMaRinE's kind of stuck in his main base and just GG's out. He's like, I can't save my third base. His army is massive and I can't get down my ramp. GG. And after completely styling on HeRoMaRinE in Game 1, Clem is now up 1-0 in this Best of 7 Grand Finals, and we're headed into Site Delta for our first TVT of this Best of 7 series, because indeed Clem ended up playing the Protoss pieces in that first game. and made a good case for the race. He fucked HeRoMaRinE up. And now he's back to his main race. Maybe he's one. He only knows a couple builds with protoss, you know? Like, I don't know what's going on there. So now we have the mirror match of TVT, where we see the first divergence already, where Clem is going for that double gas, whereas HeRoMaRinE is going for the double barracks. So Clem probably going for a quicker factory here to get the Hellions out, maybe a Cyclone, whereas HeRoMaRinE is going to be focusing on, I would guess, a Reaper into Marine count to get up a quicker expansion with all that minerals that he has, or all of those minerals that he has. We see Reaper coming out from both sides so far, but the second racks for HeRoMaRinE is finishing up. And the gas is stockpiling for Clem. He's ready to throw down that factory. Indeed, there it is. Let's see. Second Reaper underway for HeRoMaRinE. So these players pulling out slightly different builds for their first TVT set. Or map of this series. Panda gets sprayed down. That's cute. That's a dub in my book, Clem. Good job. And Natural will be thrown down on location, and this double Reaper will make sure that the singular Reaper will have to pay with his life to scout that out. Singular Reaper knows that he's in the minority, but if he can use these line of sight blockers to get the first shot on a singular Reaper that would be going ahead, then actually he could win out and kill the first Reaper, and then suddenly it's 1 versus 1 Reaper if he runs away and heals up back to full. So you see Clem really using any line of sight blocking that he can use for his advantage, or to his advantage. Third Reaper actually underway for Clem here. I feel like he's taking the lead in the Reaper count soon. They both have 2 Reapers now, and HeRoMaRinE focusing on Marines and making add-ons now. So kind of using the threat of having 2 barracks rather than actually using the 2 barracks. Factory gets delayed here because the SCV gets sniped by these gnarly 2 Reapers. Almost... Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, the Reaper does get the last hit on that other Reaper, so 1 trade, 1-for-1 Reaper trade going on there. And now this 1 Marine wards off this Reaper Hellion combination. I felt like that 1 Reaper dove a little deep, but actually he was kind of fine. Cyclone coming out for both sides. Both Clem and HeRoMaRinE building a singular Cyclone from their tech lab factories here. And both of them have a second base established. Clem taking a very fast third gas. So maybe looking at a little bit of mech. We'll see, we'll see. We do see Stim on the menu for HeRoMaRinE, so definitely going to be focusing on the Marines. Probably some siege tanks added in. And now we're going to see what does Clem do. He's still on the 1-1-1 so far. It does make a couple Marines here, and he has a Cyclone and 2 Marines in a medevac. I'm not sure if that's a deadly combo or just good memes. We'll see about that. We do see Clem kind of having that soft... It's not even a contain, it's just a checkup, really. He just has that web of spies that knows exactly what's going on. If HeRoMaRinE moves out, he knows. And HeRoMaRinE has those 2 barracks up and running now. Stim halfway done already. And now the Cyclone plus 2 Marines actually get into the main base. I'm not sure why this is attempted, because he saw how many units there were from HeRoMaRinE, and he didn't move out. So he dropped a couple units in the main, and they all died. Cyclone pretty good at shooting down medevacs. So we see the first siege tank on the map for Clem already, whereas HeRoMaRinE only starting his first siege tank just now. Raven flying on into the natural, puts down a nice auto turret here, gets a singular SCV, might get a second one, nope. Doesn't get a second one yet. Does get a bunch of damage onto those, but in the end only gets one. Wow, double medevac drop spotted here for Clem with the Raven. And that Raven will pay with his life for spotting that double Marine drop. And Clem kind of light on the unit production here, getting a 3rd CC to boot. So really powering up on his economy here. But can he withstand this double drop from HeRoMaRinE? He suddenly has to keep his eyes open and be ready to receive that drop anywhere along his main base. But psych, it's in the front. Drop from Clem just boosted out, and HeRoMaRinE barely didn't see it, I think. Or maybe he did see it, but he couldn't chase it. Now drop coming into the natural. Dropping down, and the drop from Clem is counter-dropping the drop from HeRoMaRinE, but it's 2 drops against 1. So I'm not sure who wins that when there's a bunch of anti-air support. Medevac actually being targeted down. Oh my god, it was full of Marines! That's not supposed to happen. Marines do go down when the medevac dies, so Clem a little light on the Marines, but HeRoMaRinE also losing one of his medevacs and a bunch of Marines to these Vikings plus Raven. And the game goes on. Let's see, both of them actually going into bio. Whereas Clem only now just finishing his engineering base, whereas HeRoMaRinE already starting 1-1. So HeRoMaRinE slightly ahead here, but Clem does finish his 3rd base a little earlier. But is HeRoMaRinE... Nope, they're going to be landing the 3rd bases around the same time. HeRoMaRinE slightly ahead in army supply right now, and does have the initiative. He moved out earlier, and now he is at the 3rd base location, potentially denying Clem this position. Every second that he can deny this position and SCVs that he can kill means that he gets further ahead if he trades evenly or better with his army. And Clem is now out on the map, or at least in front of his natural, trying to get into this 3rd position that he wants. But there's 3 siege tanks here ready to hit anything that comes forward. He does have a lot of Vikings here, Clem, making sure that he at least has more vision than HeRoMaRinE, because either HeRoMaRinE has to keep scanning or sacrificing units / medevacs to keep that vision. And oh my god, that's 2 siege tanks in a very red medevac. HeRoMaRinE, that's dangerous stuff. One lockdown does go down onto this siege tank, so only 1 siege tank firing, and both of them do get taken down. Clem retakes his 3rd, or at least the 3rd position, now lands his orbital, and does a little counter-attacking with this drop over here, but this siege tank does not want to hear anything about it. 1-1 is now completed for HeRoMaRinE, so if Clem attacks before his 1-1 is done, that's a little bit of an anti-timing. Let's see if HeRoMaRinE realizes that and forces the issue, or if Liquid Clem, so annoying, can actually hold off on fighting until his own upgrades complete. And here is HeRoMaRinE eager for that fight just before +1 armor for Clem finishes. What a timing by HeRoMaRinE. Tanks do get targeted down, and the Marines are clearly winning out for HeRoMaRinE. And nice fight here out on the map by HeRoMaRinE, not allowing Clem to even get close to his 3rd base. And that was a pretty decent trade for HeRoMaRinE. Tanks still pretty good at shelling down Marines, doesn't matter the upgrades. We do see +2 started for HeRoMaRinE, and +2 armor now. I also saw an armory finishing up, so we perhaps will be seeing some tank upgrades as well. 4th CC going down for HeRoMaRinE, but also for Clem. They're neck and neck. Their supplies are close. The worker supplies are close. Everything is still pretty close this game. What a treat. And the siege tanks are back with a vengeance, Clem. First Liberator for Clem comes out, actually, to break this siege line. And since he kind of holds air superiority, he can use these Liberators to break up entrenched siege tank positions from HeRoMaRinE. And he realizes that and tucks tail. Marine drop here, trying to be annoying, getting a couple SCV kills on HeRoMaRinE here, but doesn't end up getting any critical damage. Nice supply depot, making sure that he knows about any drop coming out. Liberator here, making sure that this 3 Marine drop doesn't get into the main base. We see a bunch more barracks being constructed for Clem. He really wants to pump out these Marines. See, we have 2 factories from either side, I believe, so that's double siege tank action from both sides. Supplemented with a bunch of Marines, and it feels like Clem is just producing a lot more Marines at a time, but also has Vikings. Oh my god, HeRoMaRinE actually getting a really nice position on the army of Clem here. Waltzes on into the natural order. The third base kills 26 SCVs. Cheers. We drinking to that. And the third base falls. I'm not sure if Clem has any stake in this game left. His potential fourth base now becoming his third base. Clem is deciding to sit or ride this one out. But he lost 29 SCVs. Is trying to take down the fourth base of HeRoMaRinE, but does not manage to do so. And he is chasing down the Marines of HeRoMaRinE. Siege tank, though, eyeing these very low HP Marines, wants to shoot them down very eagerly. And that's just a lot of Marines from HeRoMaRinE just waltzing on in, making sure that Clem cannot get an anchoring point there on the fourth base. No way to siege that base, Jose. Posturing back and forth, but HeRoMaRinE once again has that upgrade lead, and you see every time he has that, every time he clicks those Marines of Clem, and he realizes, you might be going all in because I killed a base. But I have the upgrade lead, so any trade I take now that looks kind of good, I'm taking it, because I'm winning in the long game here. And as you can see in the supply, the war of attrition will definitely favor HeRoMaRinE. Clem needs to vie for a very advantageous position and somehow, some way, use that siege tank splash and very nice concaves with the Marines to perhaps get a great fight. Or on the other hand, he can also decide to wait it out. If Clem waits it out, gets maxed. Ooh, potential fight here. Clem actually picking up and running away. Nice shelling from the siege tanks here. And Clem GG's out. And just like that, HeRoMaRinE evens up the score 1-1 in the first TVT of this match. Clem switching from protoss to Terran and then losing? Coincidence? However, what I was saying at the end of the last game, Clem could have stuck it out and tried to get maxed and then take a fight before 3-3 kicks in for HeRoMaRinE. But that is very difficult to do in TVT because siege tanks really entrench your position. And if HeRoMaRinE isn't dumb and just keeps a couple tanks sieged at all times, then it's very hard for him to lose position on his base. Like, if Clem somehow runs into his natural and gets to siege all of his tanks and then camp the production of HeRoMaRinE, then yes, he can win that game. He can do a doom drop of old, but his chances will be slim. We see HeRoMaRinE going for that double barracks again, whereas Clem doing the double gas again. So both players believing in their own builds. Actually, Clem going for a reactor now. He went for a Reaper first last game. He already divvying it up a little bit, going for a reactor and a factory. Not putting the factory next to the reactor, so perhaps going to use this reactor just for Marines now. Could also be double Reaper and then Marines after. We will have to wait and see. Just the double Reaper from HeRoMaRinE coming out, so probably going to be establishing that second CC on the low ground once more. And we do see double Reaper coming out from Clem whilst building that factory in the back. And the Reaper goes right across the map for HeRoMaRinE, ready to meet anything that's out there in the dark. And he checks the CC position, sees nothing. Goes into the main base, which is exposed. Supply depot was lowered. SCV gets caught and gets sniped. And just like that, HeRoMaRinE kills the first SCV of the game. That's first blood. It's a little bit less hype than it is in Dota, but still. Command center does go down. Double Reaper does come out, and Again, HeRoMaRinE stops at those 2 Reapers, then makes 2 Marines, and then starts putting them on add-on duty. Well, actually 3 Reapers, never mind, I'm getting old, boys. 3 Reapers bigger than 2, so these 2 Reapers of Clem do have to go back. Natural of HeRoMaRinE almost completed, whereas Clem's isn't even halfway done yet, so small advantage there. Bunker now completed for HeRoMaRinE, kind of stonewalling Clem in this game. Like, Clem, what do? You have 2 Reapers and a Hellion, 2 more Reapers and a Hellion to join, but there's literally a bunker there. Do you want to risk it and run by? Risk it for the biscuit? Try and get that big Marine or SCV kill? There isn't even that many SCVs, and he could potentially just have a wall. 4 Hellions or Reapers actually go up into the main base with Hellion support from the low ground, immediately evaporating 1 Marine in the trade of 1 Reaper, throwing bombs to make sure that they can kite and do damage at the same time. But HeRoMaRinE does ward off Clem's assault by pulling the boys for a little bit. And worker counts are now even. Clem pulling slightly ahead in supply, but that doesn't mean that much right now. Actually going straight into a siege tank, foregoing his own Cyclone, whereas HeRoMaRinE does get that 1 customary Cyclone. I feel like every TVT, you see every Terran just make a Cyclone. It's just so good at dealing with Banshees, early drops, mostly those, early flying units, 1 Cyclone and you happy. But Clem is here to mount the pressure. And the first medevac leaves with a tank and 4 Marines. So he's going to put that tank in a very nasty position, I'm sure, to try and shell away at HeRoMaRinE's base, or at least at his units. And there he goes, the tank does get sieged. Cyclone does get a lock-on onto the siege tank right away. So Clem actually drops into the main of HeRoMaRinE to try and dissuade him from finishing that lock-on, but actually HeRoMaRinE to Chad and just straight up kills that siege tank. Now Clem dropping into the front of the base, seeing that the bunker was empty for a couple seconds, but HeRoMaRinE quickly rectifies that, and wow. Honestly, that siege tank drop didn't do shit. That was impressive defense by HeRoMaRinE, making Clem look a little foolish with that move. Nice move here now into the natural, getting a couple kills on these gas SCVs. Scanning in the main, making sure that he knows what's up, and also to just kind of feint another drop coming in. You'll see Terrans do this a lot. They just can an area just to see if they can drop there, and you almost have to send units there just to make sure that there isn't a drop. Third CC actually almost done for Clem here. He's got to be taking a big lead. Look at that. Even though HeRoMaRinE has been warding off all of this aggression from Clem, Clem has been macroing behind it like a beast. And HeRoMaRinE is now here to pay respects to the other Terran and give back in kind what he has been receiving. And that is all of the aggression. And now HeRoMaRinE is in your natural. Actually sniped that Banshee before it could do anything. Sniping both of the gas geysers. This is looking like some ZVZ Muta shit. That is annoying. Luckily for Clem, he's not going mech. Or is he? Double factory out here. He's going mech. And that is a big blow to his gas economy, killing both of those geysers and also a couple of SCVs. And now HeRoMaRinE just trading out versus those Hellions and Marines. Getting another double drop. There was actually a second Banshee doing almost no damage in the natural. And HeRoMaRinE quickly drops all of his units down into the main base before the medevacs can go down to this double Viking combination. What a nutty game. Third base is up for Clem though, and HeRoMaRinE scouts pretty early that Clem is investing into more mech units. He could still be looking at some bio here if he adds on more barracks, but I feel like you would need stim by now to do that, so I'm pegging Clem to do mech, and this is 2 more gases. He's 100% meching it up, meching it happen, and a doom drop of HeRoMaRinE is here to drop on top of the third. He sees 1 lone siege tank and thinks, this is my moment. but there were more siege tanks in the back. The Vikings were ready to receive, and this is just a slaughter, but does reset the tank count. Wow, Marines are good units, and suddenly the third base is up for grabs, and HeRoMaRinE makes sure that Liquid Clem does not get a third base established, and is now back on 2 bases. Actually, is this orbital gonna go down? Oh my god, the orbital gets killed! Get the F out of my game is what HeRoMaRinE is saying. 2 Clem right there. Immediately starts up another third base. But HeRoMaRinE sitting pretty, starting more barracks, and his third base almost completed. Clem desperately scanning like, do you have a third base, or do you have it on location, near that location? Kinda, he needs to know what his position is. Like, can I afford to be tame, or do I need to be more rash with my decision making? Scanning that other third base as well. Clem desperately looking for that intel, and here he gets that intel. Third base is here for HeRoMaRinE, so that kind of tells Clem that he can take a third base of his own at some point, because HeRoMaRinE is investing in the third base, putting units there, making sure that SCVs are there to mine. Like, he needs to invest in making those SCVs. So HeRoMaRinE is spreading himself a little more thin, and that also tells Clem that he's not investing all of his resources in one final punch. So Clem is also allowed to be a little bit more lax on the defenses, but you don't want to be lax on the defenses versus this drop over here in the natural. And all the SCVs are pulled right away. The gases are targeted down again. Cheeky siege tank position, and the tanks were not in position for Clem to ward off this drop, and he just didn't really have the tank count to cover everything. And HeRoMaRinE did find the hole. Vikings do land and shred that tank. Vikings, of course, do have anti-mechanical weaponry, and somehow do a bajillion damage when they are landed with their Gatling guns versus other mechanical units. And Clem, just like that, didn't lose a lot of SCVs when the third base went down, so now when his third base is back, it's immediately back up and running, fully saturated. But Clem losing so much gas mining all the time here. One Liberator trying to siege on up onto that singular siege tank of HeRoMaRinE, which is the only high-range unit that HeRoMaRinE has here. Fourth base being established by HeRoMaRinE as well, or at least building that command center to fly it over at some point. We see a bunch more barracks being added for HeRoMaRinE, actually flying off this factory. Is he just going to straight up stop making siege tanks? Is he just going to make pure bio units? That would be a little weird. One tank does unsiege, so it can get one shot off on this Viking before it inevitably dies. Vikings are the vultures of lone siege tanks. And the fourth base for Clem is an orbital and is done. 5th CC underway. Might want to establish it over there with a planetary. And the big bad marauders are joining the force here, looking around for any base that shouldn't be there. Hellion run-by, not much of a run-by if you just get smacked down right away and killed. Fourth base for HeRoMaRinE flying on over to the fourth base position. And HeRoMaRinE is using his advantage from being, or having a lot of bio, and that is, you probably have map control, so you should be having more bases. Double starport transition being added on here, so probably going into a lot of Liberators, or maybe battle cruisers, or just wants to win the Viking War. You can go a lot of ways with these starports. We'll have to see what HeRoMaRinE goes for. And Clem here slowly encroaching onto the map with these siege tanks, sieging up one by one, taking his fourth base, taking those gases right away. Clem has been gas starved for most of this game because of HeRoMaRinE's shenaniganry, actually literally targeting those refineries to make sure Clem can't mine gas as long as possible. More factories being added on here. Finally, the mech upgrades actually start. 1-1 mech underway, whereas +3/+3 for the bio is already on its way as well. So it's a pretty big upgrade lead for HeRoMaRinE. He is very clumped though, running into the mech force here. But he don't care. He got Marines, he got Marauders, and he's just shredding that tank line. And he just needs to shred it deep enough so that he can take a position on this 4th base. What HeRoMaRinE does with that move is he tells us that he thinks that he's ahead and that he can trade efficiently as long as it means that he can deny bases like this. And I think that probably holds true in this matchup. Oh, look at those Vikings sniping those siege tanks. They just get evaporated. They're like snow before the sun. They're like butter in the pan. Okay, I won't say anything inappropriate. And there are those gases being constructed right away for Clem, really emphasizing the fact that he needs that gas. And HeRoMaRinE just throwing units at the wall and seeing what will stick. And here we have Liberator range from the fusion core. We have... What? Did he cancel? Oh no, there it is. We have 3 starports making Liberators, Vikings, and Medevacs. So HeRoMaRinE really taking to the skies to support his bio forces. 5th base being built on location. Loving that. Really emphasizing the fact that he has map control and he can actually do that. Whereas Clem has to build his bases near his other bases because then he can defend them. Thor is here under construction, making sure that he can shoot down those opposing Vikings with heavy payload. And now this TVT will be decided in the skies. That's a lot of siege tanks, though. How many siege tanks are we looking at? 12 siege tanks on the map. Double medevac drop being loaded up, trying to look for a cheap key drop onto the tanks, perhaps. And here come the bio actually dropping onto that siege tank force and immediately unsieging. I think they do get 1 siege tank kill because of all the friendly splash damage. But look at the supply. Clem actually climbing up. Getting that 4th base for him was really good. But this ranged Liberator, actually this one Cyclone getting the value and returning in kind what HeRoMaRinE did to him earlier, and that is killing his siege unit with a Cyclone. And now this long range Liberator sieging assault action is actually doing some work. Here's the Thor to counter those ranged libs just in time. Clem repels this siege from the sky from HeRoMaRinE with his Thor addition to the army. And now, what is Clem going to do? He's kind of gearing up to take this 5th base. A lot of Liberator zones going down from these 5 Liberators. Vikings trying to siege or take down the opposing Vikings. And we're actually looking at a big air war going on. But the Thor's making sure that that air war is anchored with the ground forces. 5th base for HeRoMaRinE now done. With a PF as well. And HeRoMaRinE spending all of his money rapidly. Because this Bioforce, you're kind of like a Zerg player at this point, where you have the less efficient army right now, but you can replenish it way faster with all of your barracks and the cheaper cost of your units. 3 Hellions going around, seeing if they can get anything done, but this planetary probably doesn't take kind to Hellions shooting at his SEVs. Hellions sitting on the gas geysers, and he does get a couple SEV kills here, but I'm not sure if HeRoMaRinE really cares. Now, actually waltzing on into the 5th base location of Clem. He was kind of baiting HeRoMaRinE there, taking those gases and being like, I'm totally gonna take that base, bro. Stay here. Put down your siege tanks and your Liberators and make sure that I can't take my 5th base over there, bro. Trust me, bro. And this is a pure Marauder, actually. Can't deal with these Vikings right now, sieging down his libs. And HeRoMaRinE is on the retreat. Mostly using Marauders right now, trying to fight this big mech ball, but now it's rolling down the hill, and can you stop this boulder from smashing your face in and killing all of your bases and your dudes? Well, yes, he gets on top of the siege tanks before they really get sieged, and the Marauders get a good couple shells off. Nice splitting here from HeRoMaRinE, and that's not the trade that Clem was looking for. HeRoMaRinE tells him to get the F off his side of the map and resets the Thor count and the siege tank count completely. 2 Thors still on the map, but 0 siege tanks. 0 siege tanks. Oh, no. Oh. No. This poor SEV. He's gonna be stuck there forever until he gets put out of his misery. Couple more Hellions trying to get some SEV kills here. Again, I'm not sure if HeRoMaRinE really cares. He has 4 orbitals up and running. Actually, only 3. He landed over one of his orbitals at some point. What the hell? Oh no, there it goes. It's actually flying over right now. Clem going into 2-2 upgrades for his mech, +2 air attack and +2 vehicle weapons. Already has +2 armor. Fish base gets thoroughly cleaned up by these Marauders. They are the janitors right now. And here are the Hellions transforming into Hellbats to be able to deal with this Marauder force. These are blue flame Hellbats even. And Clem just kind of taking all of the bases. He has minerals to spare. Scans to spare, apparently. Whereas HeRoMaRinE seems to be struggling with money right now. Especially when you see him flying over that orbital. Although his main base completely dry. Natural base completely dry. Third base not looking that healthy. Somehow the gases on the natural of Clem are still up and running because they kept getting killed. Now we have 170 versus 170 supply, kind of hitting an impasse here, really transitioning over to a late game where both players have all of their upgrades, or most of their upgrades, but they can't quite make everything that they want. It's kind of like an extended late game, I would call this. Because they're just so low on money. Clem getting this top right base seems a little too good to be true. If you're HeRoMaRinE, you want to know this and make sure that Clem doesn't have it. But HeRoMaRinE doesn't know it. He does know that he has a lot of Marauders, though. And actually, Widowmine's coming into play with Drilling Claw. So this is a interesting decision. I guess that they're really good at sniping down. Oh my god, that was a mass Raven going down? I did not notice that, those being built. Since when does he have tech labs on his starports? He made even more starports. Big fight going on in the 4th base of Clem, and HeRoMaRinE is just overwhelming. Wow, that lockdown with just pure Marauder force, just ignoring all of the Vikings. And Clem GG's out. Wow. That's 23 Marines, by the way. Cheers. And what do you know? HeRoMaRinE takes the second game versus Clem. Now takes the lead in the series. 2-1. And Clem's Terran not looking quite as crispy as his Protoss versus HeRoMaRinE specifically. Because I feel like Clem's Terran is looking really good. But HeRoMaRinE is just winning out. So let's see what they will pull out for this 3rd TVT, 4th game in the series. Clem going for his double gas once more. And HeRoMaRinE going for that double barracks play again. Really liking to see, or I really like seeing, that both of these players have their own style of TVT and are riding it out, ride or die, with their own specific personal TVT style. So Clem, let's see what he does. He goes for the reactor again, which meant that he went mech last game, and he showed that reactor Reaper for the first time last game. So let's see if he goes mech again, or that he goes into a bio variant this time. Do see HeRoMaRinE going for that double Reaper again, and going to be sending over that SEV to the natural to make another command center, so doing the exact same thing as he's been doing in the past 2 TVT games. And that quick factory for Clem is already halfway done. Both players making double Reaper. And here comes HeRoMaRiNE's CC, just slightly faster and on location. And here comes Clem, also going to be building his CC on the low ground. So you see that both builds kind of trying to do the same thing in the end, but a different path, but it still leads to Rome. Bunker in the front for HeRoMaRiNE here. He tends to play a little bit more defensively? I don't know. Last game he sent over his Reapers right away, so actually mixing it up a little bit with how defensive he is now. Getting that factory down, making those Marines, and putting those barracks on reactor duty, or add-on duty. Clem also not moving out on this map. Starport going down for Clem, going for that double Reaper, double Hellion again, with 2 more Reapers, and going for the 6 Reapers there. Wow. I wonder if he's going to push up again into that high ground like he did in the previous game. That bunker's still there, stonewalling him once more. And let's see, Clem hasn't seen anything yet. So is he just going to run by, or is he going to see that bunker and attempt the high ground once more? I like how he puts the Hellions there. And then, oh, he just goes up. Hellion does get 1 shot. Nice reaction by HeRoMaRiNE, but 3 Reapers is bigger than 1 Reaper, or 3 is bigger than 2. Oh, SCVs actually get a couple good shots onto this Reaper. Marines now flanking, and this Reaper trying to stay alive here. Both of these Reapers getting really low. Oh, and the 1 Reaper does get taken down. Hellions do run by into the natural, knowing that all of the units that came from that ramp were pulled out of the bunker, and now Clem is inside of his base killing his dudes. He has like 3 Reapers and 3 Hellions, and, well, I see 1 Marine shooting back, and that's about it. 1 Cyclone does spawn now, finally. Wow, 3rd CC going down for HeRoMaRiNE. Amongst all of this, the Marines spawn and get incinerated by the Hellions. 11 SCVs do get killed, but HeRoMaRiNE does stay in this game to live and fight another day. 3rd CC does almost complete. 3rd CC gets thrown down for Clem right away, and he just rallies out the units now. Siege tank driving across the map, and I think if you put that siege tank to good use, you could do some damage, but this first siege tank of HeRoMaRiNE halfway done already. You have to be very fast with it. As Clem, another siege tank underway, being rallied down. Reactor starport here making Vikings. Clem smells blood in the water. He's going to use those Vikings to take that early air control, and he already has a siege tank in position. Shelling down this bunker. He already has a Raven as well. This is going to be a tough hold for HeRoMaRiNE, realizing siege is coming. Sieges forward his 1 tank, making sure that the siege tanks can't hit the orbital. Oh, siege tank inching forward, just making sure that Clem can't siege his orbital, because if he has to lift that, he's never getting it down again. Actually stopped making siege tanks after only the 1. HeRoMaRiNE, so ballsy. Maybe he just doesn't quite know what's going on. Goes for the bust, actually. Cyclone locks onto that siege tank and actually breaks its lock. No! Oh my god, he broke his lock. He didn't have a scan, and that siege tank lives with 8 health. And now he's up against the ropes. This is 2 siege tanks and a bunch of air units with some other units sieging down the natural of HeRoMaRiNE, pulling all of the boys with 1 Marine left, 0 Marines left. Some reinforcements joining the cause, but I'm not sure if it's enough. Actually, it looks to be enough, but the Vikings shredding these SCVs. SCVs are mechanical, and just like that, Clem is on the board with his Terran. We're 2-2 in this best of 7 series. And Clem, the Panda Man, takes his first Terran game versus HeRoMaRiNE there. And that was a pretty quick one, going for gas first once more. And that was a relentless assault, and it looked really sharp and strong, and he knew he got the follow-up as well. And HeRoMaRinE just kind of, as soon as those Hellions drove into his main base and deep fried all of his Marines and SCVs, it just went downhill from there. Also getting his 3rd CC scouted. The weakness was just too apparent for Clem, and he went in for the kill. What is this SCV doing, actually? Is he going out for a scout? We see a singular... Oh, HeRoMaRinE actually going for double gas himself this game, so kind of switching it up. He's like, maybe you figured it out, so I'm gonna go double gas myself. Whereas Clem here only going single gas, single barracks into a Reaper, so let's see what he does. This is a completely new build, going for a quick 2nd CC on the high ground, I presume. And there is a scout here, and HeRoMaRinE immediately checks. Okay, I see 1 Rax. I see only 1 gas, what is this? And then he puts 1 and 1 together, and he finds that quick CC. And now HeRoMaRinE does know about it. He sees this 1 Reaper, pushes it across the map right away. But there is a Reaper waiting for him there. Factory for Clem as well, so Clem is kind of getting his cake and eating it too. Getting that quick CC, but also a decently fast factory here. Because he went for a fast gas, but only took 1. Interesting. But here is that 1 Reaper with an SCV to make sure that he can beat a singular Reaper because he has an SCV. See how the Reaper has to kite back, because if otherwise the SCV will right-click that Reaper at least once, and that will make all the difference in that 1v1 matchup between the Reapers. Nice pull from here from Clem, pulling an SCV of his own to make sure that he can actually finish this orbital. Now has to swap out this SCV for a fresh one if he ever wants to finish this 2nd base. Oh my god, the Reapers come through. Actually, double Marine in production here, and here's a Hellion, so HeRoMaRinE can get chased back here by Clem. This Hellion really wants to roast some of these bodies, and oh my god, here comes the Hellion from HeRoMaRinE. Actually gets a snipe on that Reaper, and now Clem does have a nice position here on top of this ramp. But HeRoMaRinE's army looking a little bit more scary. Orbital is done for, or CC's done for both players now. Cyclones for both players, so kind of the respect Cyclone. And we see 4 Marines here. It should be enough, but you have to micro them well. They can't get bounced around by those grenades. They can't get lined up against the Hellion. But you should be able to defend with that Marine count. And Clem's control on point so far. Oh, nice pickoff by HeRoMaRinE there. Picks off a singular Marine, completely destroys his body. And nice lock-on with the Cyclone there, immediately sniping down that Hellion. And here comes that 4 Cyclone, or 4 Marine, 1 Cyclone drop from HeRoMaRinE. We saw it earlier from Clem, and it didn't do much because HeRoMaRinE just had so many units. And Clem kind of has a lot of units as well, but he's trying to be aggressive with them. And now he's kind of, well, late to the party. Although he boosts in and just drops his Marines. Nice pickup micro, actually. Keeping those Marines alive as long as possible against the Cyclone. And he holds off that attack. Losing a bunch of Marines of his own, but still defending just nicely. We see a Raven coming out for HeRoMaRinE again, using those to great effect in previous games. Look at the texture. Let's see what we see. 3rd CC going down for Clem here before any additional unit production structures. So we have a barracks, a starport, and a factory. But nothing more than that. Do see 1 SCV going down to the small Cyclone Marine Reaper medevac drop. You know, the standard. And we also see 3rd CC going down from HeRoMaRinE. So pretty similar games coming out of both of these players. Again, slightly different openers, and HeRoMaRinE slightly pulling ahead in the worker count here. Even though Clem started his base earlier, HeRoMaRinE did a good job of delaying that base quite a bit. But third base slightly... Oh, it's actually quite similarly timed. Let's see what HeRoMaRinE does here. He's actually picking up his barracks to start stim ASAP. ASAP. And perhaps we'll see something similar from Clem here. Second barracks being added on. Third air barracks being added on by Clem here. Small drop in the main, but there's a siege tank here from HeRoMaRinE. As one siege tank per base, which is of course the optimal number if you don't want to get dropped. Third orbital now under construction for both players. And we see a bunch of barracks from Clem and now also from HeRoMaRinE. Very similar styles from both players, but we see that super fast stim coming out from HeRoMaRinE, whereas Clem is still kind of delaying that stim himself. Oh, gold base, nice. HeRoMaRinE kind of playing crisp. I really like HeRoMaRinE here. Look at all these Marines. Making sure that he sees everything on the map. Establishing his third base. 2 Ravens. Ooh, 3 Ravens for Clem, actually. And Stim almost done. Whereas Stim is a little bit further off for Clem. No upgrades just yet. No engineering base just yet. Interesting position. Both these players just kind of building up right now. Cooling off the match ever so slightly, but just when you think they're doing nothing, they're just dropping each other again. It's so surprising to me that such little drops with so little amount of units can be so devastating in some of these games. Nice targeting with these Marines. Does lose the medevac, but gets a Viking in return. And does get a little bit of damage on this medevac as well. And now these Marines trying to survive, but they get locked down by the lock-on from Cyclone over there. The Viking War is brewing once more. This is kind of like a Cold War situation. Both players are just making sure that that the mutually assured destruction is definitely happening. Bunch of barracks being added on from both sides. A little earlier from HeRoMaRinE here. I feel like he's just a little bit ahead on the clock here. Already has stim, combat shields, already started. Clem lagging behind a little bit in all of the upgrades. So I'm kind of looking for HeRoMaRinE to make a move here. He's setting the pace of this match right now in my eyes. Especially after warding off that weird drop by Clem. But the supplies are eerily even. So it's only the small advantages. Marine on Marine action here. And the second Marine comes in. Makes it a threesome for ever so shortly. But it didn't last. It's like, no, I'm monogamous. I'll have nothing of this tomfoolery. Marine scouting at the 4th base location here. HeRoMaRinE with these supply depots. I feel like HeRoMaRinE is so comfortable right now. He's just dotting his I's and crossing his T's right now. Whereas Clem is playing a little bit more fast and loosey-goosey. And wow, the supplies actually plummeting a little bit. Cyclone got dropped here in the main. Not a lot of losses, I feel like, on the SCV side. Only 8 in total this game. And here comes the push in from HeRoMaRinE. All of his siege tanks actually get locked down, but the opponent's siege tanks also get locked down, so it's mostly just the Vikings fighting Vikings, and now here the big Marine clump that can't get locked down actually kills almost all of the Vikings from HeRoMaRinE. Clem taking a decisive engagement there. HeRoMaRinE does save 4 siege tanks though, so even though he kind of lost his air superiority there, he does retain a healthy siege tank count. 4th base landing down for both players around the same time. Funny to see how both players are still kind of like mirroring each other in that sense. After 10 minutes of play, mind you. And 2-2 starting from both sides around the same time, so Clem nicely caught up there. +1 attack going for Clem as well for his siege tanks. So, taking a little initiative there. Saw an extra factory building here for HeRoMaRinE. I'm not sure. Yeah, Clem already has a second factory online. It already felt like he had a lot more tanks. Wow, Stimarine's walking up onto the 4th base. He scans. He sees no siege tanks. He's like, I'm gonna get in there. And almost gets a nice position on the 4th base, but all of these tanks just barely in time to get in position there. Maybe he can get a nice position on this ramp and slowly push onto that 4th base. Ooh, siege tanks just barely not sieged up. And they do siege up and get a big shot onto those Marines. Drop here in the main base from Clem. It's only a singular drop. Another army gathering here out at the 3rd base of Clem. Action happening everywhere. Drop here in the 3rd base, doing a little bit of damage. But also in the natural. And also at the 4th base. Clem backstabbing hard whilst there's a doom drop in the main from HeRoMaRinE. As you can see in the minimap, blips everywhere, stuff dying everywhere. That is mostly this main base that is now in peril. But Clem manages to ward away and defeat the army of HeRoMaRinE that was sitting in his main base. 3rd base in peril here. Quickly does get repaired up and does not die, but that was quite a bit of SCVs that he lost there. I feel like 23 SCVs in total going down there for HeRoMaRinE. I didn't see 20 on the ticker though. So you're safe for now. Marines are back into the main base. More SCVs go down. +3 started amongst all of that. And here comes another push in from HeRoMaRinE. Couple tanks sitting there by their lonesome. And HeRoMaRinE is like, let me keep you company, boys. And runs in with his Stim Marines. HeRoMaRinE is such a big army on Clem's side of the map, but Clem does have a decently entrenched position with his siege tanks here. So what can HeRoMaRinE do? Bunch more Marines coming in. I feel like the SCV ticker is broken, because I haven't seen it at all. So just in case, let's take a singular sip. Because we've seen a lot of SCV kills. This medevac with these Marines. These are all Rambo Marines. Just going into the jungle to get everything they can see killed. 5th base established for HeRoMaRinE, but the Liberator won't have any of it. Making sure that nothing can mine there until a Viking comes out to actually ward it away. That Viking only just starts up. This is a super strong Liberator right now. Both players are maxed though. Similar army supplies, and both players are going to meet in the middle of the map. Second army from HeRoMaRinE. He has 2 big squadrons walking around the map. Or battalions, I'm not sure. This is probably the Marine Division. This should be the Panzer Division. Probably not making any German jokes, huh? 2 siege tanks here. Do get a nice position. Do get the first shots off as well, but that's a lot of Marines and siege tank cover fire. Too much for that battalion to handle. And Clem wards off that attack, but they're both still maxed. Upgrades coming out for both sides. We definitely in the late game here, where both players taking 5th bases. That Liberator still denying that base. What a god Liberator this was. That was like a full minute of not being able to mine. This siege tank is food for thought, but also food for the army of Liquid's Clem. And oh my god, that's a giant arc of Marines. Gets on top of this siege tank force. Oh my god, HeRoMaRinE. What an engagement. And Clem didn't have enough body to soak for his siege tanks, and suddenly all of his siege tanks go down. And here comes the 2nd Battalion joining up with the 1st Battalion in the 3rd base. All of these Marines joining on up, trying to take down the 3rd base of Clem. And here goes down all of the siege tanks of HeRoMaRinE, and he overextended ever so little. But that was enough for Clem to strike back, and he's still in this game. HeRoMaRinE trying to be annoying with his units that will die at some point, actually almost targeting down 2 Vikings there. Pretty nice. We saw those Vikings landing on top of the siege tanks and taking them down rather quickly. I like how that dynamic changed from the Heart of the Swarm beta and Heart of the Swarm itself, where Vikings were just kind of like only air-to-air, but now they land and just shred siege tanks. I think it's really cool. Another siege tank in position for HeRoMaRinE. Clem struggling to retake all of his own land, and he seems to be trying to break this position now. He runs in, takes down the first siege tank, 2 more siege tanks down here from HeRoMaRinE, and HeRoMaRinE is just everywhere surrounding Clem's position. One bad move and it gets shelled down by the siege tanks, and that's not a position you want to be in. That's a very low red siege tank and just gets shredded by these Marines. Somehow these Marines can take one siege tank shell straight to the face. They don't care. But more Marines have enlisted, and they are in for the kill. They don't like the trenches. They are out for blood. And more of them streaming in onto the last anchor of Clem's siege line. That last siege tank, if this one falls, Clem has to fall back beyond his third base and will lose that position. Vikings land again onto that siege tank and shred it to bits. And Clem holds on. But how much longer can he hold on? He's behind 40 supply, and HeRoMaRinE is just barreling down onto his Terran opponent. More Marines just run in, get another nice siege tank pick off. If siege tanks are not covered by enough other siege tanks, then the Marines will just shred them to bits. And we do have a Liberator from Clem again, and we've seen a good Liberator already, but we need a couple more magical Liberators this game. And the third base does get shredded by these 3-3 Marines, and now they load up for a double drop. Probably destination, your main. And there goes the double drop into the main base. Main base been lifted, or at least the main command center, to replace that third command center. And now HeRoMaRinE kind of camping the main the main production facilities of Clem, but it's only a distraction. He just runs into the 5th base position, sieges up right away, and how do you defend this 5th base? I don't know if you can if you're Clem, and he's not even sieged up to do it. He's just trying to keep his 4th base alive. He is repairing this 5th base, though, probably outmining the repair cost for now. But, you know, this is just the cost of doing business, is what capitalists say. We'll take the fines on the chin. We just, you know, as long as we're making money, it doesn't care. I don't care if it's morally correct. And the 5th base goes down for Clem, and with that, his hopes of staying in this game, he's out of steam. And with that, HeRoMaRinE takes that game, and he's now up again in the series, 3-2. And we move into the 6th game of this best of 7, and we are on a beautiful, great map, the Goldenwall LE, somehow not made totally of golden minerals in the middle. That's just a mischance. What the hell? What the hell? You call it Goldenwall. Should have called it Blue Wall. And we see Clem going for only one Gaserino and actually sending out an SEV here to do something cheeky. If you saw my last video, proxy everything is literally what Clem and Creator did. They just proxied all of their buildings all the time, everywhere. And here we see, I think, the first proxy of this game, Clem putting down a second barracks that if HeRoMaRinE scouts, he won't find. But we also see 2 barracks going down for HeRoMaRinE, so he's quite safe, I feel like, from any shenaniganry. Second gas being thrown down for Clem here. And 1 Reaper does get produced. Is he going to go for Proxy Marauder? I'm kind of thinking, like, what does he need the extra gas for? I know that Reapers take quite a bit of gas, so maybe he just wants to make a lot of Reapers. But we'll have to see. Orbital quite a bit later for Clem, and here's another Reaper. SEV sticking around. Probably going to go in for the kill with 2 Reapers and an SEV, I presume. And HeRoMaRinE probably going to throw down that CC once more. Oh my god, HeRoMaRinE actually scouting here and finds that barracks. HeRoMaRinE is in the know. And he throws down his CC anyways. He's like, I can hold this. I know what's coming. Factory underway for Clem as well. And here comes that SEV plus 2 Reapers. And HeRoMaRinE was so ready. He already made sure that he had an SEV ready at the natural. Target fired one of the Reapers that have to peel off right away. And because he had that high ground vision. And now he gets the snipe. My god, that's an early Reaper kill. That's a drink. Just like that. Wow, domination here by HeRoMaRinE. And one extra Reaper gets built. Another Reaper gets built. Wow, Clem is so committed to this. Decent Reaper count. And he gets the counter snipe. Gets on top of this Reaper. Gets on top of that Marine. And now he's looking for blood. Another Marine. Nom, 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 nom. Clem knows what's up. He kills an SEV. And just like that, it was looking so good for HeRoMaRinE. But the hubris got the better of him. 2 SEV kills, 2 Marine kills, and a Reaper kill. And now, HeRoMaRinE, it was looking so good. He scouted it. And now, he's on the back foot. Another Reaper goes down, and HeRoMaRinE just GG's out like that. And we're on to the final game, best of 7, game 7. And just like that, we're in the 7th game on Solaris. Clem versus HeRoMaRinE. Saw a lot of early Reapers die there, so definitely a couple sips of apple juice. And the thing we've been seeing is that Clem, if he smells blood in the water early, or when he's playing protoss, he can take that dub. But if the TVT goes a little longer, HeRoMaRinE has been taking it home. So now we're here in the last game, and with those lessons in mind, Clem already made his first mistake of not playing protoss. So can he make his second mistake of letting this game go longer? And giving HeRoMaRinE that opportunity to take the dub and win the real Homestory Cup tournament from 2023. Where the prize pool is evenly distributed amongst all players, so it's just for honor, really. I mean, winning a tournament's still pretty nice, right? Double gas coming out from both sides, but Clem delaying his gas a little bit, getting that second Rax, but adding on the second gas. So, curious to see what he's going to be doing with that. We do see the first Reaper coming out. With this secondary gas, he can make a lot of Reapers while still affording that factory, but he will have to sack the fact that he gets a second CC. In other words, he won't be getting that second CC quite as fast as HeRoMaRinE will be getting at this game, I presume. Reaper coming out from both sides, and HeRoMaRinE did do a little scoutering, but didn't see anything of note, except for that the second depot was maybe a little early to make sure that no scouting could be done. One Reaper does go down, and HeRoMaRinE scouts around for some proxy shenaniganry and starts a reactor so that he can make, I presume, Marines. To see factory going down and double Reaper production. So Clem definitely putting on some pressure early here. So he did take that other lesson, whereas if he can pressure HeRoMaRinE early and get that damage going, then he is in a primed position to take the game. And with that last game, the tournament. 2 Reapers go up into the main base. Hellion spawns just in time, and actually HeRoMaRinE or Clem does manage to snipe that one Reaper, but does lose his own Reaper in its stead. The second CC does get delayed. Nice flaming shot from that Hellion. Does hit both Reapers, but Reapers regen pretty darn fast. And double Reaper comes out from that reactor barracks, and now 2 Reapers get caught in the trade of nothing. And Clem, just like that, he is behind in this game. His CC is on position to kind of try and take advantage of the fact that he kind of has map control. 2 Reapers versus 2 Hellions now. If Clem can regen here, then he's in a good position. And the 3rd Reaper comes up. Hellion gets sniped down right away. Bomb keeps away that 1 Reaper from this fight. And the speed zones just make this fight crazy. And 2 Reapers get taken down by Clem here and goes up onto the high ground. Oh my god, HeRoMaRinE focuses down the Reapers of Clem right away. Both of these players are just producing Reapers and Hellions, but HeRoMaRinE now transitioning over into his favorite unit, the Marine. And both players have 2 units here. 1 Reaper, 1 Hellion. Nice target firing coming out from both sides. And I can't help but feel that HeRoMaRinE is kind of edging it out here, and we do see that in the supply and worker count. Now getting a couple Marines out, whereas Clem made a couple more Reapers here, but is now also transitioning into those Marines. He has the 2 barracks, making a tech lab as well. And going to be switching that over with the factory, going into fast tanks. Nice micro here with the Hellion Reaper. We saw HeRoMaRinE do this in the 5th game as well, slowly picking away at the Marines until that Manor Cyclone comes out, the gentlemanly Cyclone unit. Ooh, these Reapers got caught trying to sneak by, check the 3rd base location, and then perhaps swoop their way up into the natural, but he's still being chased down. He does get decent damage on the Hellion, but 2 Reapers go down for only a little bit of Hellion health. And this 4 Marine, 1 Cyclone drop. 1 Reaper plus Hellion in the natural, taking down 1, taking down 2. And here come more SCVs. They are on the hunt. And in both bases, oh my god, the medevac gets targeted down by the Cyclone of Clem, but SCVs are falling here. We do see 2 SCV kills only. What? Cyclone locks onto other Cyclone. Cyclone does kill Cyclone. That Cyclone on Cyclone action, baby. And Clem actually survives. Decent worker count still. Nice hold by Clem, holding on to his everything there with that Cyclone of himself. Really needed that Cyclone to defend against the other Cyclone. We do see 1 Siege Tank 4 Marine drop now. I see a trend of 1 factory unit plus 4 Marines in a dropship. Good. That is a sneaky drop. Flying on into the main base of Solaris here. And HeRoMaRinE is ready to do a little bit of damage here. Just get a supply depot, just get a couple SCVs, leaves the siege tank alone, only gets a bunch of damage on the Hellion, and that's about it. Marines in the natural not being dropped, actually. And at home, we do see double engineering bay coming from HeRoMaRinE as well, but they're already done for Clem. So he's planning on making this a slightly longer game. If you see double engineering bay, you know it's double ups, and if it's double ups, you're not really looking to end the game at 1-1. Because you could probably hit a harder timing with 1-0. Usually. That's how the math works out. Decent cleanup from Clem once again there. Head to head, neck and neck. HeRoMaRinE inching out the worker advantage here, but only ever so slightly. Both players have decent standing armies. Army of Clem actually being slightly bigger. This game is on a knife's edge right now. 1-1 upgrades coming out for both sides, and Stim as well. Stim actually nearly finishing here for Clem. See if he makes a move with that or just stays at home. So we see a little lull here. Settling in until another random drop comes in. And transpositions being established for both sides, but Clem says to hell with it. I'm not sieging up my tanks at my side of the map. I'm sieging them on yours. And HeRoMaRinE scouts that move out pretty darn fast. So he is ready for this assault by Clem. What will Clem do in response? He swoops around to this potential fourth base, perhaps. 2 medevac drop full of Marines actually going around, trying to get into the main base, but this sensor tower, so clutch, actually sees these medevacs moving in, and the Vikings are already there. Double drop from HeRoMaRinE gets recalled back. And oh my god, the drop actually gets into the main base unscathed. Because HeRoMaRinE barely didn't catch it with his Vikings, and now Raven gets targeted down as well by Clem. Nice catch. These Marines are stranded here, though. They try to put themselves in a corner and get a nice trade against all these other Marines, actually, somehow, some way. And now Clem is pushing into the third base here. Lockdown on that siege tank. Third base has to lift up, and these are more Marines than these Marines, so those Marines will die with impunity. Nice drops of these Marines on top of the siege tanks. Gets nice friendly fire, and gets 2 tanks for his troubles, and is now allowed to re-land his third base. HeRoMaRinE up against the ropes, but he's still in this fight, punching back. Hitting a Liquid's Clem straight in the jaw by killing those 2 siege tanks. Does have slight air superiority? No, both of them just have 1 Viking. Uno Viking. And Clem actually has a Raven as well. Double drop here, trying to get something done, and now Clem pushes on up onto this high ground, but this tank was already sieged. Giant concave by HeRoMaRinE, shredding the Marines of Clem. And his siege tanks weren't quite ready to back him up. Nice siege tank positioning here from Clem. Gets 2 siege tanks and doesn't lose his own. It is pretty low health, though. Marines run in to make sure that this tank does die for its crimes. And that's only 3 siege tanks left for Clem. 4 for HeRoMaRinE. So he seems pretty comfortable. Does lose a medevac there. And these speed zones just make this matchup so wonky. I can see why they both vetoed it to last. And here come the tanks and the Marines again, sieging upon this third base again. This sensor tower trying to be reestablished, but does get cancelled. But this is 5 tanks. Nice scan by Clem, taking down the tank before the tank of HeRoMaRinE could take down his tank. And he's actually sieging this gas. He can soon start sieging these SCVs as well if he encroaches further. Fourth base been established by Clem. Clem, is he doing it? Is he actually going quite late? And putting HeRoMaRinE in a difficult position? Well, yes. Yes, he is. HeRoMaRinE is very oversaturated, though, so if he ever gets a fourth base, he can immediately saturate that fourth base. Clem, though, ahead in upgrades and in supply. This is a really nice position for Clem here. Moving out with a big force of his own, trying to move into this third base. And scans ahead. HeRoMaRinE caught in the middle of the map. And Clem is here in your third base, killing your dudes. Third base is forfeit. He doesn't even care. He knows he has to go for the throat. And HeRoMaRinE only sees one way out, and that is a base trade. We have a base trade, ladies and gentlemen, for this game. Number 7. SCVs and Marines go into the grinder. SCVs do not provide enough coverage for the siege tank to anchor the fight, and Clem is in the main base of HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE loses all of his stuff, and he has to GG out, and Clem, against all odds, takes the 7th game, and with that, the tournament. Clem wins the real Homestory Cup 2023 with playing Protoss as well. They go 3-3 in TVT and the Icebreaker, but also the clutch game, or, well, the deciders match, although they played it first, was that Protoss game. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this cast, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to subscribe and like this video. I will finish my apple juice for you, and, well, cheers in advance.